Good evening, friends. Let us dive into another case law which is in the syllabus of Advocate on Record Examination. I am talking about case law that is Supreme Court Advocate on Record Bar Association versus Union of India, that is of 2015. Friends, we all know that collegium system was developed in the second judge's case of 1993, which was further refined in the third judge's case of 1998. Now, this case, which I am going to discuss, that is Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association versus Union of India 2015, it is also known as fourth judge's case. In this landmark judgment, Honorable Supreme Court struck down constitutional 99th Amendment Act 2014. As through this judgment, National Judicial Appointment Commission NJAC Act 2014 was created, which was struck down by the Honorable Supreme Court, holding them unconstitutional as this was diluting the judicial powers of the court. So, going to the background of the case, going to the background of the collegium system, it was established by the Supreme Court in the second judge's case of 1993 and further refined in third judge's case of 1998. The collegium system vests the powers of appointment and transfer of the judges in a body of senior judges of the Supreme Court headed by the Chief Justice of India. Critics argue that the system was opaque and lacked accountability. So, NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission Act, sought to replace the collegium system with the National Judicial Appointment Commission. The strength of that commission was Chief Justice of India Chairman, two senior most judges of the Supreme Court were member, Union Minister of Law and Justice was also member. Then there were two eminent personalities selected by the committee consisting of Prime Minister, Chief Justice of India and the Leader of Opposition. The Constitution's 99th Amendment Act of 2014 provided constitutional status to this NJAC. So there was challenge. This NJAC was challenged by the Supreme Court Advocate on Bar Association and others who argued that it violated the basic structure doctrine, particularly the independence of the judiciary. Key issues that were framed in this case were, firstly, does the NJAC violates the independence of the judiciary, which is part of the basic structure of the Constitution? Can NJAC ensure transparency in judicial appointments without compromising judicial independence? Does the inclusion of executive and non-judicial members in the NJAC undermines the separation of power? These were the three issues. So, the Honorable Supreme Court's observation which came in this case were Judicial independence is a cornerstone of the Constitution and non-negotiable aspect of its basic structure. The inclusion of the law minister and two eminent persons in the NJAC gave the executive an undue influence over judicial appointments, threatening the judicial independence. Then the court noted the lack of clarity in the selection process for eminent persons and their potential susceptibility to political influences. Then, while the collegium system no doubt has flaws, the solution could not compromise judicial independence. The NJAC was seen as an overreach that risked undermining the judicial autonomy. The NJAC was held to violate the basic structure doctrine, which protected the independence of the judiciary, separation of power, and rule of law. So, judgment, you might have guessed what that has been. So, the court struck down the Constitution 99th Amendment Act 2014 and NJAC Act declaring them unconstitutional. And the collegium system for judicial appointment was reinstated. The court acknowledged the collegium's shortcoming and invited suggestions to improve its functioning. No doubt it invited. Then, if we go by the significance of this judgment, the judgment reinforced the independence of the judiciary as an essential feature of the Constitution. While the judgment upheld the collegium system, it acknowledged the need for reforms to address concerns about its capacity and lack of accountability. The decision expanded the doctrine, reaffirming the judiciary role as the guardian of the Constitution and its independence as a vital element of the basic structure. So, when this judgment was announced, critics are always in front line. So, critics argued that judgment favored the status quo and missed an opportunity to bring much needed reforms to the judicial appointment process. While striking down the NJAC, the court failed to provide immediate solution to the issues of transparency and accountability in the collegium system. Some commentators argued that the judgment excessively insulated the judiciary from the executive influence, disrupting the balance envisioned by the framers of the Constitution. And what happened aftermath? The judgment directed the government to finalize a new memorandum of procedure for judicial appointments, aiming to improve transparency and accountability in the collegium system. The decision reignited debates over judicial reforms with calls for a more balanced approach that ensures both independence and transparency in judicial appointments. So, nutshell, coming to the conclusion, the Supreme Court Advocate on Record Association versus Union of India 2015 judgment upheld the primacy of the judicial independence while rejecting executive influence in judicial appointments. While it restored the collegium system, the judgment also acknowledged the need for reforms to address its shortcomings. The decision remains a cornerstone of constitutional law, reaffirming the basic structure doctrine and judiciary's role as bulwark of the constitutional democracy. So, this is all about this case. God bless you all. See you again.